major details have been leaked on this entire De'Aaron Fox trade saga. Now, once he signed with Rich Paul, a lot of people saw the writing on the wall as De'Aaron Fox's future with the Sacramento Kings being in question. And when he was unwilling to sign an extension with the organization, Monte McNair was put in a very difficult situation because he's not an impending free agent this summer, but this following summer. And then that's when you start losing leverage and a guy could walk for nothing out there in the future. And for a guy that's as valuable as De'Aaron Fox is to this Kings team, to this organization, to any team he'd be on out there in the NBA, asset management is crucial for players like this. If there's signs, there's indications that they might leave, as is the case with a lot of players that end up signing with Clutch Sports, Rich Paul. They're trying to get a bag or they're trying to get into a new, fresh destination. Now, we've heard rumblings, we've heard things go on this entire season with De'Aaron Fox and everything that was going on with the comments, with Rich Paul, with Fox, everything that could be said. But more details, new details have been leaked on this situation, which illuminates more things that we can really look at this with a bit of nuance. With this whole situation, not, hey, De'Aaron Fox bad, front office good, or front office stupid, De'Aaron Fox good. There's a lot of factors at play with this entire situation, so we're going to dive into it all in this video. But folks, again, if you want to stay up to date with all of the latest on this De'Aaron Fox saga, if you're a part of the 83% of our viewers that haven't hit the subscribe button just yet, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing that's going on with this Sacramento Kings team, because things are getting crazy right now. The next week or so for this team is just going to be off the rails madness. It's already started. We have had a lot of stuff, a lot of reports drop, so make sure you guys keep it tuned here to Kings Digest. But let's dive into this whole saga, this whole thing that's going on, because if you didn't see it, right, De'Aaron Fox, Shams revealed that the Sacramento Kings are expected to open up talks to potentially deal away all-star De'Aaron Fox ahead of the February 6th trade deadline, sources have told ESPN. There'll be plenty of suitors, but it's believed that Fox has a target destination in mind ahead of the 2026 free agency, and immediately as that happened, the Kings' phones have been going off the line like crazy. Now, this is not, you hear the language in this. I've seen some people say, hey, is this guarantee gonna happen? Is this guarantee gonna be going down? Because, of course, hey, there's potentially in there, there's the expected, there's this, there's that. You don't make a report like that to Shams. Monte McNair, the Kings front office, don't make reports like that if this deal is not going down, if they're not taking it extremely serious. Of course, if the Kings get lowballed and teams come out there and try to pull him away from nothing, then of course the Kings can keep him. There's still a year and a half left of his contract. Things are all fine. But this came at a very unique spot, timing as well, because you get the Kings sort of performances of late. Of course, you had a couple tough losses to the Denver Nuggets, to the New York Knicks. Is what it is. There were a lot of W's, and frankly, schedule, with the exception of that OKC game, schedule's pretty light. On the upcoming radar. So why on earth would the Kings be interested in dealing away De'Aaron Fox here now? At this point, things are just turning around. Things are looking good. New coaching, vibes are back. The beam's getting lit. Why on earth would this be happening? Well, you need context to what, so these details, the stuff, these, situation that are flowing through the cracks of De'Aaron Fox's camp, so we have an idea of what's going on. And this dates back to a couple months ago when Draymond Green, Fox went on his podcast and said, what was the motivation for you to pass on the extension? Fox came out and said that I want to make sure I'm in a position where I try to win. I want to make sure that we're in a position to try to win in the future, because that's ultimately what I want to do. I feel like I'm continuing to get better as a player every year. For me, looking like we're continuing to get better year after year. Are we going to be able to compete at a high level? If we can show that this year, you sign an extension. Now, I love the city. I love being here. I would love to be here and retire here. But at the end of the day, I also want to win. So, again, nothing wrong said in that. Nothing saying where the pitchforks were being raised out there at De'Aaron Fox saying, let's get rid of this guy. It's very disappointing, all that stuff. It's a fine quote, but it planted seeds of stuff that was to come. And again, the briefer quote, I would like to be here, retire here, but at the end of the day, I want to win. So, Again, this came specifically, from De'Aaron Fox, has reportedly signaled his intention to move on from the franchise, according to his agent, Chris Paul. Per insider Chris Davis, Paul and Clutch Sports have informed league circles that Fox will not sign an extension, plans trade of this upcoming offseason stuff. These were all rumors, rumblings, and stuff, things that are coming out there at that point. That was all rumors. We're not sure Chris Davis, the most reliable insider, but there was a lot of stuff circulating, escalating regarding this whole situation. Now, this is where the new info comes into play, because we saw that Sean stuff starting to build up. You see Rich Paul being represented by De'Aaron Fox. What's going on here? Well, this happens, and you're like, okay, De'Aaron Fox requested a trade. This Chris Davis stuff is probably legit. But then, you get some folks out there in De'Aaron Fox's circle saying D has never wanted out. Just want to clear that up. So fans are responding out there on Twitter, coming out and saying, hey, bumping this up so people seem to forget. Reese Fox is coming out and saying he still has never asked for a trade, by the way, especially while being in the midst of a good run. That should be clear. So you see that. You see that for De'Aaron Fox. You see that come out. And these details kind of leaking, come through the cracks, dropping through Twitter. And you're like, what on earth, Monte McNair? Why on earth would you be trying to trade De'Aaron Fox when the Kings are kind of rocking and rolling here right now? Well, that's why you needed context for those sort of details coming out. Rich Paul has been maneuvering, has been having discussions. They had that meeting like a month ago as well, where they discussed the future of the Kings organization, and the Kings haven't been able to make any blockbuster moves. You've heard a lot of stuff about Cam Johnson. You heard a lot of stuff about all these players the Kings have been interested in, tied to bring another asset, bring another piece out there around De'Aaron Fox. I'm sure, especially though good of a guy, like bought in the loyalty aspect, De'Aaron Fox hasn't demanded his way out. But basically, what's coming from the reporting, from the stuff of Shams Charania, is Rich Paul had a meeting with Monte McNair and said, now is probably an intelligent time to trade De'Aaron Fox. Now, that is by no means a trade request. You have guys like Jimmy Butler, who is out there sitting out plane rides. I'm sure if the Kings didn't trade De'Aaron Fox, that man is going to be a professional. He's going to come out, do his job on every single night. He's going to try to win games. And frankly, if the Kings go on a playoff run, he'd probably re-sign with Sacramento. I believe all of that to be true. I believe this stuff coming out from Reese Fox is not one word of a lie. But it's a bit disingenuous because you hire Rich Paul as your agent. All of these details, all of these discussions are leaked. You already have a trade destination in mind. All this stuff's coming out. And by no means are you demanding a trade, are you requesting a trade, are you trying to set the team on fire as you go out? But your agent comes out and says, it's a high IQ time to really make a trade. Because the Kings still have a ton of leverage right now. There's a year and a half left on his contract. You get some serious value back because whatever team's trading from at least has a year and a half guarantee. 2 seasons to really prove to De'Aaron Fox that, hey, he's worth signing here. But if your agent's doing that, and you're coming out and saying, hey, he's never requested a trade, he loves this, but you haven't signed an extension. You haven't been willing to commit. Your agent is saying these types of things to the Kings front office. I'm not blaming Kings fans for being upset. Now, I don't think he should be roasted. He should be, grilled, raked to the coals, all that type of stuff. Especially, I'm seeing especially where people are like, hey, the Kings are good again. Like, why are you demanding a trade? He hasn't demanded a trade, but he hasn't expressed a willingness to commit long term. Basically, he's letting the front office know he's probably going to leave in next year's off season. What can you do? What can you do there at that point? It's not an official trade request. It's just as good. It's a nice trade request. It's a subtle. It's using your agent by proxy to kind of get this stuff going. So it's if he came out was sitting, pouting, doing dramatic stuff, Ben Simmons in his way, of course, that's when Kings fans have the full right to be very, very angry with De'Aaron Fox, to be frustrated, to do this, that, whatever. But I'm not hateful of De'Aaron Fox. I'm not disappointed, but the writing was on the wall once Rich Paul was coming out, having these meetings, doing these different things. So let me know what you guys think about all these kind of details, stuff coming through the cracks right now. My camera's died at the end of this video, but let me know in the comment section down below. You guys best take this far. Subscribe to the channel. I'm signing out. Cheers.